Today we're doing something real different. I mean, we're not cooking. Today I want to talk about something that's important to me, something I want to share with you, and that is how to take care of your dishwashing sponge, or as I like to call it, sponge etiquette. So why is this important? Two reasons. I mean, one, the obvious one is taking care of your sponge will help you wash your wares better, making sure that when you wash your wares, it's actually cleaner. And the second reason is actually maintaining your sponge in a usable state for as long as possible. I mean, sponges not cheap. I mean, there are cheap ones, but ones like these that I like, the ones with the kind of mesh on the outside and the sponge on the inside, I really like to use these. These not cheap, so when I buy them, I like to make sure that they last as long as possible. And a way to do that is to have a particular approach to washing your wares. Now, if you ever come by me and we sit down and eat and thing and you offer to wash wares, chances are I'll tell you, don't bother, I go do it myself. And this is not to throw shade or nothing like that, but I just real particular about how my sponge is used, because again, I like to maintain the integrity of the sponge, if you will, when it's in use, to make sure that one, my sponge don't mash up before it's time, and two, that, you know, it doesn't get dirtier than it needs to be. So let me jump into it one time. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So I have some dirty wares here, you know, eating your dirty wares. Now, the thing is, for a lot of people that have wares and they go and wash it, and the first thing they will do is just either put soap on to the sponge and then just go into it one time and start washing. Now, the thing about it is this. This is a sponge. And what does a sponge do? It soaks up whatever it gets in contact with. So when you put grease on a sponge, it's going to soak it up. And no matter how much you wash this, once the sponge gets in contact with grease and that kind of thing, it's going to be there. It's going to have some level of grease and food or whatever that's going to stay in the sponge, because that's just basically what a sponge does. That's just the nature of a sponge, right? It'll soak up things. So for me, the general approach that I take to washing wares, especially when it's wares like this that are dirty and have oil on it, the first thing I would do is rinse it off. So I would rinse off the excess food or whatever. I mean, if it have actual bits of food, you want to scrape that into the bin, of course. But then if it have like little remnants of oil, grease, gravy, whatever the case may be, you want to rinse it off first. Now, the next thing you would like to do, if it have like bits of food stick on it, I have a brush, a bamboo brush that I use, bamboo brush that I bought to use to clean my wok and to clean like a, I'm gonna turn this off, right? So a bamboo brush that I bought to clean a wok or to clean like iron pots. And you could use this on your wares. If you do have a brush like this, you could use, where is the other brush? All right, so if you can't, oh yeah, and I bought this in the hardware. And if you can't find a brush like this in the hardware, brushes like these are available. So you could use a brush like this and just brush it off. But if all else fails and you don't have a brush, I mean, you have the tools right here, right? You're born with the tools. Go in with your hand and basically just use your hand. I mean, they have soap and water to wash your hands after. So just use your hand and get the bits of food off of your wares. Right? Like so. Same thing for this. Use your hands or use whatever other utensil that you have to get the bits of food off your plates. Alright? And then now I could use the sponge. So you have the majority, most of the grease off of it. Probably not all, not every single trace of it, but definitely quite considerably less than what we had before. And now I just wet my sponge. I put a little bit of dishwashing liquid on it. And then, yeah, now it's just to apply soap and wash. And for me, this is the way I approach washing wares. This is the way I practice what I call sponge etiquette. And this way, I maintain the integrity of the sponge, the cleanliness of the sponge, if you will, for as long as possible. You know, so let's put that aside, wash. Off. And that's it. Clean plates. Another thing that I learned from my mother when I was small to tell if a plate clean or not is that. You hear that sound? If you rub your finger on a ceramic plate after you wash it, and you don't hear that sound, which is basically the sound of no grease on the plate, then your ware isn't washed clean. That is the sound of a clean plate. That's a tip there for you. And the thing is, when it comes to pots like this, cast iron or your iron pot and that kind of thing, if you make a pela or your curry or whatever the case may be, it's the same principle. I don't leave pots to soak at all. Once pots get dirty, I try to wash them one time. And again, I like to use my bamboo brush. And if you don't have a bamboo brush, you could use a brush like this to get the bits of food that stuck it out. So basically, go in with the bamboo brush. You could use a brush like this, or even if you have a scrubbing brush, you could use a scrubbing brush and just go in, get the little bits of food off of it. All right, and now I could go in with my sponge. And as you can see, no sort of food stick up on the sponge, and that is what we're looking for. We want to maintain the integrity of the sponge. And again, no need to have, you know, your pot or your pan soaking in the sink for a day and that kind of thing. Nah, I really don't like to do that. I don't like pots and things soaking in my kitchen sink. That is just my personal preference. So I prefer when I use a pot to be able to wash it one time. And a great way to achieve that is to use some sort of scrubbing or scouring utensil where you wouldn't get the food sticking up on the utensil. So again, a brush like this is the perfect tool for that. You get the right amount of abrasion and it doesn't damage the pot. Not like a Brillo pad or something like that, you know. And of course, because this is my cast iron skillet, my good cast iron skillet, I need to go and heat this and season it one time. So definitely gonna do that. It have a thing my father used to say when I was growing up. He always used to say, it have an art in everything. And when I was small, I used to find it was annoying because for me, it's like he was making a big deal out of little things now. But in hindsight, in retrospect, I really understand now what he meant. Is like, you know, it have a way of doing things where you're not just doing things willy-nilly. You're not just doing things wishy-washy, but, you know, you're giving thought, you're putting thought into what you're doing. And, you know, you're trying to have the best outcome, even in the most mundane tasks. You know, you want to think about what you're doing and think about what's the best outcome. And again, we don't have money to be buying, you know, a new dishwashing sponge every week. So you definitely should or could, you know, just pay a little extra attention and have a little more care in how you use your sponge. And again, it will ensure cleaner dishes and more longevity in your sponge. So I hope you like this video. I hope you appreciate it. And if you did, give it a little thumbs up, give it a share it with your friends, drop a little comment below. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please take a moment to do so. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.